Program's beginning. We, however, are sure that we are going to catch up with the time and discuss what we have planned for this day. We are going to be looking at the increased killings in the northwest and southwest regions, asking how to protect civilians, and equally we are going to be looking at why, if there is a possibility for opposition parties to get together as we look forward to triple elections this year, regional, municipal and parliamentary elections. We are going to be discussing on these two topics with our panelists who are in the house. We are welcoming Mr. Lapana Mama. He is an educationist and equally very interested in issues of politics. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity again. I'm very grateful. I'm welcoming you back from Bamenda.
Thank you. It was not an easy one. We thank God for grace and guidance to have brought us back from Bamenda safely. We equally are in the company of a lady who is taking part in this program for the very first time. Hannah Ayon Takan is her name, civil society activist, human rights activist. Advocate. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here today to be part of the discussions towards the ongoing hazards in our areas where we grew up from. Mm-hmm. I'm very much delighted to be here to discuss the way forward.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we hope that we are going to be discussing ways forward, especially with respect to our civilian population, always caught in the middle of this ongoing fight between warring factions. In the one hand, Cameroon's military, on the other hand, separatist fighters. Equally in the program with us is Fundu Ignatius, who is also in the house. We are glad to have you.
Thank you very much, Leonard. Welcome back from Bamenda once more. I would like to comment that education is not only in school, it is also in programs like your own. And you are acting as an iota to your viewers, from your panelists through you to your viewers. That's why I want to send a special greeting to especially your permanent panelists.
Okay.
Yes, not forgetting some of your viewers that I discovered, somebody like Jambole Abel, which I discovered last time, that he follows your program very keenly. We need much education from them. Thank you.
We need much education from them. We equally are in the company of Ayaba Carlson. He is a youth leader, equally very interested in issues of politics, an IT specialist. Carlson, we are glad to have you for the first time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leo. I've been waiting for this invitation right since the beginning of the interesting program. Happy to be here.
Okay, I start with you since you are a young guy. Many deaths, many people falling in the northwest and southwest regions every day. What is the feeling that comes to your mind when you hear that young people keep dying?
Well, I think of the future. The future of this country, the future in the world depends on the youths. And if you have an economy or a government where the youths are dying more than the adults, then you start thinking of how the future will be. It's a bit scary. Totally, it's scary. You begin to see a future with unprecedented actions, nobody to govern, nobody to lead, the little ones which will be left. So it's a scary thing for me to think about it. It's
a scary thing. Do you feel for them?
Yes, obviously. Obviously, I've been also involved. I've been a victim of this situation. I've lost people. When I see other people dying innocently and those dying because they were in the fight, I still have the same feeling for them because their lives would have been saved at some point.
Their lives would have been saved at some point. I did an article this morning, Mr. Fundu Ignatius. We hear of a baby who died in Muyuka. We heard of 8 persons were killed in Isu. We heard of young guys were killed in Bali. Young guys, I'm sure 15 of them were killed in mile 16, and they keep falling every day. How do you feel when you get this news?
I feel very, very sad. I think we are talking just about the topic was protecting the civilian. I think sometimes even the military, some of them are dying.
Yeah, there are also young people in the military.
The way forward is how to stop this killing, both sides. I would also like to, I know that talking about this protection is talking about the crisis. And sometimes I always feel that sometimes commenting about this crisis is almost like somebody riding a bicycle in between two heavy trucks. Which means that if you go this way, you will be crossed by this one. If you go this way, this one will cross you. But that is straight from the two sides. But we are forced to propose. So I would like to inform the public that the only solution, the only way that we can protect civilians is to solve the crisis.
To solve the crisis, we are going to certainly come to the proposals towards the end of this topic that we have to discuss. You are a woman, a young woman at that. Do you feel particularly touched because young people are going on both sides?
I feel so sad. It's a very sad situation. I mean, I have witnessed mothers, young girls being maltreated by the armed force. I mean, it's so sad that we have issue going on in the English-speaking regions of our country, and the government is doing nothing good. So far, to me, I say the government is doing nothing good because we have to deal with this issue. Our children are dying. Our mothers are dying. Our young girls are dying. They are hiding in bushes. And when we try to extend a hand of help to them, we too will get into danger. I mean, the government really has to wake up. The government has to actually wake up and take up their responsibility, because we are like their children. The government is like a father to us the children. And what kind of a father will leave the child to go astray? What kind of a father will allow the child to fall and hit their leg? I mean, our government is failing us. They need to wake up. They need to rise up and stop all this. We need to get into dialogue. The government needs to get into dialogue with the separatist group so that this issue can come to an end, and our girls and our young and our children and our mothers will be safe, and they will return back home from the bushes. I mean, living in bushes, that's what kind of a condition how can a woman be living in a bush? How does she take care of her personal hygiene? I mean, it's so sad, it's so absurd, it's very disturbing. And most of our girls, I have visited personally. I have gone right into the bushes. I have tried to extend a hand through others as well to donate certain items to our girls and our young girls and our mothers who are in the bushes. I mean, it's so sad. The condition they are in is not just is not welcoming at all. Even to cry is more than you sit and you look at the environment where they are. It's so dishumiliating.
Okay, it's so humiliating. Lapana, increased killings in the northwest and southwest region. How do we secure the civilians? International convention seems not to be respected at this level, because on both sides civilians are paying a very, very huge price. Meanwhile, there are international conventions that actually define how wars are supposed to be fought.
With the issue in our regions, the first thing I have to say is I am very, I'm very angry with what is going on in the regions, because these are two elephants fighting, and then I can say the two elephants are playing, and then the grass, the one suffering. Every day, people you are looking up to, the youth to take over the leadership tomorrow, we are seeing them going every day, without any pity from Busa, the Amber Boys, or the leaders of the Amazonia and the government. What I'm saying is, it is moving toward the end, and it is just for us to turn ourselves and look up to God, and forget about all we are talking about the international intervention, what we are looking up to should be our own struggle to end the crisis. Because when I study look at all what is happening in Cameroon, in our regions, I'm just picturing but the children of Israel, and then the only solution is to go to God, ask for prayer.
So you have the feeling that the population is caught between two factions that seems not to have the interest of the people, because no, but the government will tell you that they cannot imagine a second losing an inch of Cameroon's national territory. On the other side, people say we are fighting to protect our land.
Yes, what I said, the both side, the Ambazonian leaders, the government, they don't have any little interest. What they are fighting for is their personal interest. And then I would say it clear that they are fighting, because if this struggle was for all Anglophones, maybe we all could have been informed from the beginning for us to be educated on what they are fighting for. Many people that they have killed today because of they call them blacklegs, they are not aware of what they were fighting, the agenda of the leaders of the Amazonia. They program everything abroad. They send it on the paper or through social media for us to take it. The government on this part is the father, as is say here, is the father to everybody. And then your children, the child will come up and say, I want to separate from the family. And then you see the necessary, that is not okay for the child to leave the family. The only thing you have to do is ask the child what is the problem, then meet the need of the child, and then to stop that habit. If you want to separate the child, yes, do it in a way. The government is very stubborn, and from the beginning I said the government of Cameroon is the most stubborn government that I have ever seen, the most wicked in the whole Africa, that cannot be compared to anyone. Because you cannot send the military. The military will go, and then they will be they are aware, because this thing has been happening for 3 years. And then they are aware for 3 years that the Amber Boys, they don't have anything that is identifying them. And then the Amber Boys, these are the strategies that are using. They will come and hide and do something, and immediately reaching there, they will not be there. Why, if you reach there and they are not there, you are aware that they are no more there? Why burning down houses? Why killing those that you have seen? So I said the two elephants.
Okay.
Their time is already moving to an end.
Carson, do you also have the impression that two elephants are fighting and the grass is suffering? We are talking about civilians who are caught in a web of a fight between two giants.
Yes, I have a view that two elephants are fighting, but I'll look at it more in this way.
Okay.
Where this elephant has his house, this other elephant has his house, and there's a common battleground, but they decide to come and fight in the house of one person, thereby causing more casualties in the house of one person. Why don't they go to a neutral ground and fight, if they want to fight? That would be possible. So for me, I think to stop this increased killings, the first thing is that the separatists have to stop shooting. Because to my opinion, to the best of my knowledge, they have been the ones recently provoking the military to retaliate. If the separatists can stop shooting, or if they can identify themselves, making sure that when the military wants to retaliate, they retaliate directly with the separatists, fine for the rest of the civilians. But since the separatists are not being identified, it causes a general retaliation from the military to attack just anybody they feel can be a separatist. And I understand the military's point of view from that perspective, because they want to keep the national integrity, and they claim they will do everything at whatever cost to be able to keep the national integrity.
Okay, the fighting in quarters, how do we avoid fighting in the quarters? Because seemingly many more civilian casualties are being occasioned by the fact that there is no clear battleground where, like you said, the military and the separatists can confront themselves. So either the military or the fighters find themselves fighting within the quarters, and we know that many children are falling, mothers are falling, because of what is usually called stray bullets.
The only way to avoid fighting in quarters is to send information to them. Because at this juncture, we know there are the two sides. Nobody seems to be listening to proposals that came from Cameroonians. We continue informing them that the Amber fighters, when attacking the military, they themselves should be conscious of identify where to attack, not so that the civilians should not suffer the cost. So I want to see again, as somebody, Rapana said, that two elephants. in terms of two elephants, it also, there are people from behind that give courage for the fighting to take. When you follow media, the words that come out of our mouth, we the Cameroonians, is the one that make it. I don't see an encouraging word to the fighters to be thinking of how to end the war. Then on the side of the government, I would like to also say that the government is stubborn, just like Mr. Lapana said. You will notice that this crisis has been for 3 years. In a normal government, I've never seen any authority dismissed, sacked since 2016, in which we have been seeing what the authorities are doing. Hate speech. Then you see, it would mean that the government does not have concern in what is happening. But I want to end by giving a way forward. I don't know what a way forward.
We are going to come to that. My issue is how safe is it to be fighting in quarters? When you go to my 16, you find fighting inside the quarters. You go, I'm sure, in Muya, in Kumba, and in other places. Meanwhile, it becomes very difficult not for a stray bullet to get at somebody.
It's very traumatizing. It's actually very, very traumatizing, because there's so much fear with us, the civilians. Because I remember I was in Munya one time, and there was shooting from two different locations. I mean, right in the house, you're so afraid, you're so traumatized. You can't stand up, you can't even stoop, even lying on the floor. You are still not. You're still like frightened. I mean, we really have to. Our government has to. They have to take up their mantle. Like Christ said, they have to take up their mantle. They have to take up their mantle in resolving this issue. Because we, the civilians, we are tired of this issue. We are tired of losing our parents, our brothers, and our sisters.
Why bring the fighting in the quarters in the first place?
Because the government has not been able to listen, to give a listening ear to the separatists so far. To my greatest understanding.
Yeah, but why should separatists themselves attack within the town?
They know that the separatists know very well that the military cannot come to the bushes where they are, so they are forced to come to attack the military, and the military is based. They are found that their base is amongst the city, amongst the
militaries are in their camps.
They are in the militaries are in the camps.
Yeah.
Right in Munya.
Why not go and attack them in their camps?
They do that. They do.
Okay.
Yeah, I think from the past follow-ups I have been making in other media
houses.
Media houses. Yes, they do attack the ambas do attack military in their camp. That is okay. But coming to our maybe our quarters, I mean, they are coming after the military, but the civilians are caught up in between, because the military is also in the quarters. That is what is provoking them, the Amber boys, to come to the quarters.
You have to draw more light to our point. I think when this crisis started, the Amber boys were more in the bushes, and the military confronted them in the bush. And I can remember the military was at a terrible loss, because they could not master how the rural environments where the Amber boys had an upper hand. So which made the military to retreat to town. I think it's just a thought. I think it's possible. Since the Amber boys in the bushes could not more see the military to fight against, they had to move to town.
Okay, that is what you are saying. But movement from Buea to Kumba has become very risky. From Kumba to Manfi is equally very risky, because the routes are very hostile. We saw what happened to the national chair of the SDF moving from Bamenda to Kumbu, and practically impossible to move from Bamenda to Kambe today. There's no way to move from Bamenda to Wum, passing through Bafut. So why do we also put the lives of civilians at risk? making it very impracticable to have safe passage to their different locations?
Okay, I will first of all start with the contribution why they are in the city or in the quarter. I will say that there are 2 points that are pushing them. The first thing on the part of the Amber boys is illiteracy. They don't know why they are fighting. And then most of them, you would look at them and you ask them questions, you discover that they are just guys that maybe very frustrated in the quarters. They have just gathered and they lack the education as fighting is concerned. And then the military on their own part, they are not professional. Because if they were professional, they could have maybe knows the ways in which they would take and push the Amber boys out of the quarters into the battleground. Which each time anything happened, you discover that these two items are contributing. Because the Amber boys, they don't know, they have just called them from nowhere and say, okay, you come and take a gun, and then we are going. And then each time they want to exercise their power, and then they don't know that they have to do that in a battleground. So they have to come in a quarter where the population will be shouting and say, they have done something today, they have done something today. Those are the things that are encouraging them. So I pray that God should educate and pour wisdom upon them.
Yeah, let's talk about the risky nature of
and then the risky nature of traveling and moving. It is also because of all those issues that I've mentioned. Because I don't know why they will allow us, they were saying, the battleground and then come and settle about on the highway. First point is stealing. Stealing is contributing a lot in it because they have to stop and they control it. Only 500 francs, 70-seater bus is how much? That is already 35,000 francs that they will have. And then they have the right to take anything because they are holding a gun. And then those that maybe left the village, they have never seen an Anglophone, they are opportune to take it so easily. And then they are opportune. You see somebody like a chairman of the Social Democratic Front, that a little boy, guys that are not educated, will take him far away. And they question him and they do so whatsoever they wish. Those things are giving them powers, and then they can only take those people on the way. Like you travel to Bamenda. There is no way they can come to Douala and take you. It's only on the way, so they will stand there. And then I'm saying that those are not strategies to fight. If they study other countries that have been fighting for freedom, they support, they protect their civilians, and then they fight in the places. They identify themselves. Because if I don't blame the army shooting, maybe people, boys or young boys in our regions, because if I'm an army, and then my life is at risk, somebody will come here, maybe do some kind of shooting here, and then disappear and fall into the population. Run the other way. We are standing here, we don't know what's happened. And then the military will just come and meet us. See us, they don't even know whether we are Amber boys or not. They are also afraid to die. And then they will just start to defend themselves. So Amber guys should identify themselves. If they want to fight for freedom, they should look for a battleground, remain there, and then whatsoever they want to do, they should do it there. And then the military comes to attack them there, they should fight. And then struggling, running into the bush, not running into the city.
Issue of safe passage, medicine is hard to find. Basic needs, salt, rice, water, and other issues are becoming very, very scarce and very expensive in the villages because the routes are rendered so dangerous and risky.
Well, I think it's a win-win situation or no-win situation for both parties, both the civilians and the separatists. If the separatists have to block these basic communities from reaching these areas, it doesn't only put the population at a suffering point, it also puts them at a suffering point. So let them go ahead and continue, and let's see how long this can continue.
Okay, but it's not good because
it's not good. What I'm saying is not good. What I'm saying is not good. They suffer also from it. It's not like the civilians also suffer from it. Both of them suffer from it. So
no, but to some point, what if the literature that comes is made away with by the separatists who can stop their camps and have everything that they need, but the villagers are suffering because the basic commodities cannot get to the respective destinations.
The separatists, as Labana said from there, first of all, they need money.
Okay.
Some of them are uneducated. And then, on basic commodities, you need that those guys, there are people who escape from traveling into the interior because they already fear of being confronted by the Amber Boys. So the business people fear their life from going into the interior. From the experience that I had when I traveled, those guys, their objectives on the road, there are certain commodities also that they don't like. They consider them as they call Republic products. So they want to ban them from going into their territory without considering the negative consequences. Those are one of their objectives. And then another idea is that
but we saw videos where these supposed contraband products were confiscated by these guys and are consumed by them.
They are hungry. They need money. That control me. They need money. They are hungry. Those things are passing. They themselves need it, so they need to have food to eat, because most of them are not staying in their different homes. They have camps where they cook their food. So I was trying to say that this Amber guys, sometimes their control also means that to them they consider that there are some of us from from that zone who are like betrayers. So their control. Another reason is they want to be sure that the person passing there should not be somebody that will betray them. So that's why some of us, as I travel to the village, when you reach into your own village, you become you are like a stranger in your own village. So those are some of the reasons. But the problem is that their objectives are giving negative consequences. That's what they don't know. It is giving negative consequences to the civilian. And then I want to end by commenting on the other point that we ended up, that the military should be professional. I have a brother who is a politician, who is a policeman, who said that in the night, when chiefs are somewhere breaking, when the police come, in the night you always hear pa 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 pa. You hear po po. When you hear the sound of the gun that shoot, and it does not shoot faster, it is the police, because they are professional. Then thieves will just be shooting without control and running away. I'm trying to compare this situation between the Amber and the Army. The Army are professional. They are supposed to be shooting, showing their professionalism. But unfortunately, they themselves have become unprofessional. If you come into a village where you see those guys will be running away, you come and see like a planned house, you shoot into the house indiscriminately. I'm even sure that that's one of the things that has happened before this young baby was, maybe the baby was even shot on the bed. The soldiers should be professional. That's what I wanted. That's the way I wanted to
the baby shot in the bed. I don't know whether it was shot by.
No, I'm suggesting. I'm
not sure whether it was shot.
What baffles me is on the contraband goods, they go to the boys declare not necessary for their territory. And the services which are declared not necessary for their territory. What have they done to replace these goods or services for the local population?
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Which means that since we are looking at how we should protect our civilians, I was going to ask you, do you forbid something from coming to your territory, supposedly because it is made by La République, and yet you can't provide an alternative to those living in that area? Because I just left Bamenda now. It seems as if in Tuba there is no light because Sonel officials went to repair a transformer that got burnt. Their vehicle was taken, and the workers got scared and they left. And the people are in the dark for close to a week now, and in other areas.
I totally disagree with such decisions that the Amber Boys are taking. You cannot cause people not to have basic necessities. I mean, water, light, most especially. We are in the 21st century, for God's sake. We cannot be living in the dark. How can a 21st century boy, a young boys who call themselves Amber Boys, living in the 21st century, they cause their parents, their younger ones, and their fellow brothers and sisters to live in the dark? I mean, I am totally against that. Even common basic food items like sweet drinks and maybe beer, there is no such thing like goods from what the so-called La République. I mean, Cameroon is one. Whether they like it or not, Cameroon is one. Cameroon will remain one. It's not by depriving certain food companies from selling their products in the north and southwest regions that will cause the north and southwest region to be independent. Yes, we should not even be talking about independence in the first place.
Okay.
Yes.
We should be talking about a struggle, but now the struggle should we deprive people from getting access to hospital facilities, to getting access to other such related facilities because doctors are fled, because there are no there are no medicines. I know of a friend whose father is somewhere around Cameroon who told me that they're only waiting for the day that the father is going to die because practically the doctors seem to have fled and non-Cameroon precise, but somewhere around Cameroon the doctors have fled and even there's no way to move the father from where he is.
Yeah, that is what I keep on saying, that we need to. And then since the crisis started, my own blame is going to the leaders of the so-called Ambazonia territory.
Yeah, but do you also think that the government is doing enough?
Yeah, no, I'm talking this point. I want to answer because all what is happening, like we were talking about the basic commodity, you discover that they refuse such things to enter. I don't believe that they will never be the country without import and export. I don't believe there will ever be the country like that. And then if they are saying that they cannot produce everything, and then going into the hospital, that is what I say. The guys are suffering from illiteracy, and then the Bible says it clear, my people are perishing because of lack of knowledge.
Yes.
These people need to be educated. Those who are sending them, those who are supporting them, should support them with ideas, not weapons. They should support them with ideas, because going to attack a hospital, that is an abomination, because you are killing yourself. They also are receiving wounds. They are shooting them. They will fare ill, and then where will they go to? There is no doctors, there is no nurse, there is no school. You are fighting, and then what are we fighting for? We are fighting which stuff? We want to separate from La Republic because of marginalization, and then we are not going to school. Who are those who take over power? We are fighting against marginalization. We are not going to the hospital. I believe the President of the Republic, he has done nothing for the country, but I still say he has done something more than his predecessor, because we have hospital. He declared in the process that he will give reference hospital to. All those things are coming, and then we are burning the ones that are there. The chairman of the Social Democratic Front, were talking on a TV station, and he made mention of those things are ours. We are today, there are many government schools that we are using, but the Germans built it. They were constructed. If during the First World War, the British all burnt them down, who could have been using what? Now we are burning down hospital. We are doing all those things. If the military is having a problem, then they will transfer the military to Douala or Yaoundé for treatment. You, where will your father go to? Your mother. So I'm just telling them that they should spend this short period, put down their guns, and then let the leaders return back to the country and educate them and tell them why they should be fighting, and all of us will join the fight.
Okay, you will join the fight. I don't know you and who will join the fight. I am Nanji Didi Ashu from Kumba. Good evening to you in the studio. I must say I'm really very impressed with what you are doing out there. My say to the question is, we have waited for the government to solve this issue, but they are slow in taking proper steps to do so. And we keep, please, if you have a message, just send your message, we'll read them out. Don't call, because we cannot read. We cannot take a call, please. We have waited for the government to solve this issue, but they are slow in taking proper steps to do so, and we keep dying every day. So for me, I think the Amber Boys are coming to the protecting us, English-speaking Cameroonians, so let them calm down. Their steps to achieve this is causing us more harm than good, so let them drop their weapons. If they have the interest of the people at heart, let them stop the shooting. You did not tell us where you are writing from. Good evening, dear panelists. The topic of the debate is very interesting. Talking about the increased killings in the restive Anglophone regions, how do we protect civilians? I think the only panacea is for a much heralded, inclusive and frank dialogue as announced by the PM during his recent peace visit. Please, just stop calling. We cannot take any call. Send their messages, we'll read them out. I think the only panacea is much heralded, inclusive, frank dialogue as announced by the PM during his recent peace crusading mission to the affected regions to hold as fast as possible. The civilians, however, should first of all struggle to protect themselves. The Amber Boys too should avoid invading our neighborhoods. Their frequent invasion of the neighborhoods provoke the military, who at times consider them as accomplices to the Amber Boys, and therefore in their retaliation there is the element of stray bullets. There is the element of stray bullets. Please, can we stop calling? Stray bullets and civilians are more affected. This is Tala Ara writing from Kumba. This one says, good evening, sir. I'm Rodri writing from Bamenda. Please, your programs is highly watched here, so I will advise to scrutinize, okay, before bringing them to the studio for debate. I want to tell, that the Northwest and Southwest is at war, and thus wearing strategies to drag the attention of the international community. Okay, your point, Rodrigue, is that these actions are there to attract the attention of the international community. Hello, my media TV. For once, your invitees knowledge of these things happening in Northwest and Southwest regions. They talk out of ground zero. How has Amber caused civilians not going to be light and water? In fact, I'm disappointed in okay, Kange John, your point is gotten. We should also understand that positions may differ, Mr. Kange George. It's time for the news. We are going to, okay, they tell me that we should continue for now. This one says, this killing of innocent civilians day and night is due to the fact that the president don't want to end the war and follow the roadmap. This is Di Niro writing from Italy. We cannot take a call. We can't take any call for now. Let me take this one. It says the panelists this evening isn't okay. The panelists are not objective in the decision. Seemingly they lack. Okay, there's wants to talk on. This is Wamu writing from Kumba. This one says this is unbelievable. If Cameroon is one, why can the other regions can't stand and ask the government to stop killing their brothers? Is Sebastian writing from Yaoundé. Okay, let us continue our discussions. Do we also have elements of score settling where civilians are caught in the web, where people want to settle scores and in the process kill innocent people?
Definitely, because there is this aspect of the natural feeling of retaliation. For example, somebody who lost his or her family member to within crossfire against it, and the person was told the military is responsible. The natural reaction for that person is to have bias or hate against the military, thereby pushing the person to pick up arms and going against the military. Somebody else will become victim again in crossfire, and the process starts all over. Another person, out of retaliation, will either be fighting against the military or against the Amber Boys. So it's like an infinite loop. So I would like to draw my attention to one of the SMSs talking about objectivity. How else should we be objective when I'm talking about what I know, what I see, where I come from? These boys, like recently in Bamenda, as we were talking earlier, the Amber Boys confronted the military and ran away. The natural retaliation for the military was to go to the village and do rampant shooting, of which 8 people were caught within the crossfire. Who was the genesis of this problem? The Amber Boys. It's as easy as that to reason. So I don't know why viewers you would think, or my opinion would be against I'm not against the Amber Boys. I'm against the interest of everybody. The life is very important to have.
Okay, the life is important. Score settling in this issue, you say you went to your village and you appear as if you are a total stranger. Why do you feel a stranger in your own village?
No, what happened in the village, what you are saying, settling cost, you will notice that not even as a general interest, there are guys, people can have, there are people in the Amber who maybe must have been having a problem with somebody, maybe in the village, something like that. They will pass through the Amber Boys and that person is picked up and taken to their camps. So that's on the side of the Amber. Then it generally, I will support the idea he just said from here. There are also people who join on both sides from the Amber. There are people who join because when you go there, I learned that there is a woman of above 40 there who happened to have joined those things just because of maybe the family member she has lost. Then on the side of the military, there are this military that should indiscriminately like there are military who lost their family members, and then when he is sent on mission with the anger, he goes there with the personal anger, then he destroys more than the other. But what I want to say is that as time goes, this revenge will continue. Because as we are talking here right now, Leonard, if you happen to, as we are talking here right here, if you happen to hear that your whole family has been wiped off in the village, just like an incident that happened in my village in Tiben, but where a tutor, wife, children, mother-in-law that were in there were all killed. If you happen to receive that type of a message, you will not be the very person you are talking now. Your character will change. So let us do something that will avoid people from being involved into this kind of situation. Because what you have said, Leonard, is true. Now there is transfer aggression on both sides. Okay. Right. That's the way I see it.
Good evening to you guys in the studio. I love your program. Please, can you tell that we do not call for war? Nobody burns houses, and I also wish to ask my sister, nobody burning houses, but the La Republique military are the ones burning houses. Please, this is Ayang writing from Bamenda. Hello, it's Mary, the woman of family member have been shot. You should have been an Amber woman. You invited need to okay. I'm sure. See, he just made a point that there is a lady who is fighting in the Amber, who accordingly is retaliating because the family was okay. Stop the carnage. The military should be called to order. Amber kills military, but military kills Amber plus innocent civilians. This is Tabot Machiavelli writing from Yaoundé. We learned in school that armor cars fight only neighboring countries. Does that mean southern Cameroon is in a different country? Look, the military are very stubborn because they are the ones who are provoking the Amber Boys and end up killing civilians. This one says, good evening to you all in the studio. The government is doing nothing to resolve this problem. People should not just say things that will cause some Ambazonians to be more angry. I'm Donaldson, for me writing from Du. Good evening. We are glad to know that you are watching us from Du. My name is Inusa from Kumba. The Amber Boys are doing a good job. Okay, that is what he's saying. Good evening, sir. You people should educate, not okay. That we should not insult. We should come to educate because all those insults make those boys be angry. This is Robert in Boya. I'm sure we should not also insult anybody because people have reasons for doing what they are doing. Now, when you look at the population today, everybody, both sides needs collaboration from the population. You also have the impression that people are scared of both sides.
Yes, of course. Let me talk for myself. Let me talk for myself. I'm scared of the Ambers. I'm scared of, why am I scared of the Ambers? Because of what I have been hearing and what I have seen them do to some of my family members. I am equally scared of the military, because the military is even worse than the amber. The military's case is worse. I am scared. The military does not have any time. They don't give you any chance to talk. Once they find you in anywhere where they get to, you are their prey. That's how it works with the military. So we are caught up in the net. It's like we are caught up in the net, and we really need to come out of this situation as early as possible before it gets worse. Before it gets worse, because 3 years gone and we are still in the same. Even we need to come out. We are calling on the Amber Boys.
When you say you've lived the experience, where did you live that experience?
I have lived the experience.
Where?
Here.
In Douala?
In Kumba. I have lived the experience in Munya, in Buea. In Kumba, I went to, I did a campaign. I did a campaign for One Woman, One Path, where we envisaged going into the bushes to help our sisters who are there to donate some personal hygiene products for them, like pads and soap and other things. And it was not easy. I mean, from that experience, we all know that Amber Boys are along the road to Kumba. Somewhere. We all know the whole of the entire Kumba, Boya, Manfe Road is filled with Amber and the military. I mean, we were stuck. We were stopped for more than an hour because there was a shootout between the two groups, the Ambers and the military, just like 30 minutes before us. So we were stopped. We had to wait until when like after an hour, 20 minutes, when a vehicle has to calm down and tell us everything has calmed down, then we had to move. Then only we were able to move and distribute these items to these women who are hiding in bushes. And when we came back, I mean, even with our fellow brothers and sisters, it's very sad to say whom we call from the other 8 regions, right in our quarters, they make mockery. It's sad to say, but it's the truth, because I have lived it. They make mockery of us. They call us Ambers. Whether you are you are for the separatist motion or not, you are referred to as an Amber. Yes, and I mean, we just feel like we are lonely. We don't have anywhere. We can't run to the military because, of course, the military is out there to fight against what the Ambers are trying to do, and we can't equally run to the Ambers because it will be like promoting them to do more harm. Yes, we cannot do that. So we are caught up.
Yeah, what explains this? She's giving an experience she lives in Kumba. To note that she's working with most of these IDPs out there, so she's not talking from the blue, she's talking what she has lived. What would explain the fact that women, children are not comfortable to be confident that either party can aptly protect them?
Well, it is obvious that they would not develop such a confidence toward any of them. One of the main reasons is because they have seen the atrocity of the military, and then they have also seen that of the Amber Boys, in which many of them have names like No Pity, meaning in any case before then there is no pity. So, and then they have been doing some terrible things that everybody maybe would testify that when you have been taken, like the video that we just circulated just recent on social media, a guy that was being burnt with papers, punished. They will just burn papers and say, "Oh, he's burning on you." Those kind of video, when they send it out, is to threaten the population that these are the kind of treatment if you do this, if you do that, if you do this. And then most of the issue is when the villagers look at it, they discover that they are not punishing these people because of maybe they have made proper investigation to discover this man is a blackleg. They came, and many of us can testify that many of our brothers are complaining about hatred. It's inside, jealousy is inside, and then all kind of issue. People are settling their problems through that. And then when they take you and then they look at the kind of treatment the population will be afraid. Women are afraid to run to the amber, because if they were not afraid, they would not go and stay in the bush. They could have been in the camp where the amber boys are for protection, but they prefer to go to a neutral place where they don't want to even see the ambers. They don't want to see the military. When the military are coming, the population are running. When the ambers are coming, when they pass around a place, everybody will disappear, because they know that in 5 minutes or in 2 minutes the military will enter. And those are the things that are pushing them. I'm saying that if we are fighting, the government has sent the military there to protect the citizens. They should educate the military, that they should bring the population closer to them. That the population should, if the ambers are the one, as the government are claiming that they are the one causing all the trouble, the population should be running to the army camp. And then if now the amber boys discover that the population, they don't trust the army, then they give themselves to the population, so that the population will run to them, not maltreating them.
Okay. Yeah.
I wanted to say that that situation you are saying like that, even they put you there, you are going to behave like these people. They should stop telling us like none of them is protecting the population. Because even you, if you were in the amber or the military, you know that when you are fighting with somebody, when you have an enemy, each of them cannot, if the military was protecting the civilian, they could have come out of their barracks and position themselves in the street, yes, and wait for the amber. You see, they will go and hide in their barrack behind those backs, and then they say that and then on the side of the amber was also they will go and attack the military and say that they are protecting the civilian. By the time the military is coming, instead of standing to defend the military, they disappear and the civilian face the consequence. None of them is protecting. And the reason why they are not protecting the civilian, they also have a reason which is not really bad. Each of them, in the course of protecting the civilian, he will be distracted and the enemy will take him. Even they send you there, you the military, you will not go and stand on the street in the night, you run, and even the amber will not be distracted. So all of them are like that. But what I want to tell them is that they should stop telling that none of them is protecting the civilians.
Mm-hmm. No, it's not.
Okay, you think that what everybody is saying is okay?
I'll talk on the gentleman's point there. You see, people wonder why, some people, neutral people wonder why does the civilian population not report these amber boys? I think it has something to do with emotion and fear. I would not have a friend who has decided to be an amber supporter or an activist. Logically, he's right to his point. Though he's not right to take somebody's life, he's right to his supports and his ideas. So for me to go and report that person to the military, I'll find it a little bit bizarre. Now, how will we protect the civilians? How do we stop this killing? The first thing is that there must be a ceasefire. But the problem about ceasefire is ceasefire is not enough. If they cease fire, for how long? If the amber decides to do that, we don't want to shoot. The military decides that we don't want to shoot. For how long will that be? We don't have that because the amber have not yet disclosed their program. The Prime Minister came out to say the government is ready to dialogue, which I can also translate to as the government is ready to cease fire. I've been waiting for the amber interim government to make a speech, get towards that okay, we are also ready to dialogue. In that way, we, the civilians, I will be rest assured that yes, at this stage we can start having some protection towards our lives.
Okay, it is Benito. Benito is writing from Long Street, that should be in Boya. How do we protect civilians? I don't know who you are addressing the questions to. I am sure this question is going to all of us. We are discussing, and I'm sure our brothers who are fighting as ambers are watching us. The military is watching us, so whatever we are discussing here is in the interest of the population. You, Benito, who is writing from Long Street in Boya, you equally have a responsibility to protecting the civilians, because the protection starts with the individual. We start by protecting ourselves before anybody can protect us. I do not know who you are addressing the question to, because those responsible civilians and property protection are the ones bringing death and destruction to our doorsteps. The only solution for civilians to run for their dear lives, desert the fighting zones and go to neighboring towns or countries. I'm sure that is why we have many IDPs in Douala and Yaoundé. What is the simplest reality we have? And okay, I hope your Biafran panelists can justify the killings perpetrated by the professional military. The military who hate civilians are worse than rebels. They know where the amber boys are. They should go there and stop flexing their muscles with harmless civilians. Good evening. Good evening to you too. Great show. There should be diverse views, but I think the panelists must refrain from provocative statements. Such statements are not different from the hateful comments made by the government officials. This is Ayon Bless, who is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening, Leo. The Amber Boys are not fighting. They are only defending their harmless parents, brothers and sisters from indiscriminate killing by the professional and harmless military. Chere is writing from Kumba. Good evening, I'm Lawrence from Yaoundé. It is better for a military to leave a thief go than to shoot an innocent person. For me, the government can't win a war militarily. They should think of a different way. Okay, this one says, good evening to everybody in the studio. Is the military burning the villages and hospitals, and is this same military they are killing civilians? What kind of education do you want to give to Amber Boys that can't be given to military? Please let the government stop this game, solve the problems, because we talk more and do little. This is Pierre. Pierre is writing from Bafoussam, chief town of the West region. This one says, my name is Inusa from Kumba. The Amber Boys are doing their job. Inusa, good evening. Good evening to you all in the studio. The government is doing nothing to resolve the problem. People should not just say things that will cause the guys to be angry. Okay. This one says, good evening to all the panelists. I'm Roger Chechu, writing from Yaoundé. I think there is a great need to educate our military on the fact that all assets and wealth on earth put together cannot buy life. The government should stop recruiting illiterates who cannot reason like humans. Okay. This one says, in war nobody is there to protect people. You should be careful for yourself. Robert in Boya, I really like your program. Thank you, Robert. Sydney writing from Kumbasi. The Amber Boys are not maltreating the population. The Amber Boys fish out betrayers of the southern Cameroon struggle. This one said the population is with Amber in the bush, so Amber Boys is more safe than military devils. Watching Yaoundé. It's Mary. Mary, good evening. Good evening to you in the studio. My opinion to this discussion is that let the illiterate Amber guys drop their weapons because they are the ones aggravating the problem of killings. Bafoot, for example, is an Amber zone, and the Amber guys are doing nothing to protect the civilians, because when they show up to attack the military, they don't fight to their last blood, as they say. Rather, they attack and run into the bushes, leaving the civilians at the detriment of the military shootouts. This is Chair Nelson writing from Bafoot. Good evening, Mr. Leo, and to all your panelists. I'm called Andy from Moliko Boya. The government has all what it takes to end the violence, but they lack the willpower to do so. Some of Okay, we are going to move over to the newsroom to find out what stories have made headlines today.
Swecom and its partner ABS Africa this Monday, May 27, 2019, organized a satellite video solution forum at Aqua Palace, Douala. According to the managing director of ABS Africa, Mr. Flavien Bachabi, the forum was more or less an opportunity for ABS to commune with its customers and discover more services offered.
We are here today for the joint ABS Welcome Summit. with all the SOECOM end users and potential clients. SOECOM has been using ABS for many years now to uplink all the TV channels they have been aggregating. We want to discuss with the clients, the end users, the best ways to proceed to help them grow, because if those end users grow, SOECOM will grow. And if SOECOM grows, ABS will grow as well.
ABS offers all satellite services not only in Africa, but in all parts of the world, as it is the 5th satellite company in the world. Presentations on video solutions were made by different resource persons from SOECOM and ABS. At the end of the day, participants like this woman went home satisfied.
Je suis très ravie de connaître que les Africains font aussi des grands exploits. Le responsable de ABS a donné des explications et il nous a fait comprendre que les Africains aiment dormir. Alors l'Africain, c'est quelqu'un qui ne veut pas prendre le risque. Alors lui, il a pris le risque et il s'est levé et il est le responsable de ABS. Et pendant qu'il était en train de dérouler son propos, j'étais tellement attentive, j'étais en train d'écouter et j'ai compris que le satellite qui est en train de couvrir SOECOM, ce n'est pas n'importe quel satellite et ce n'est pas n'importe quelle entreprise, parce qu'ils sont 5e. Il nous a montré toutes les preuves. Donc ça m'a encouragé à poser d'ailleurs des questions.
The Sales Director for West and Central Africa, Mr. Columbus Ekenko Ponjok, has this to say.
The main objective, first of all, is to reassure their end customers they are working with a good partner, and to tell the end customers that we can collaborate together with SOECOM or a partner like SOECOM and give them a very viable solution that can help them to increase their audience, that can help them to reach the whole of sub-Saharan Africa in just one click.
From this solution forum organized by SOECOM and ABS Africa, it is safe to say that Africans in general and Cameroonians in particular should adopt the culture of consuming their own, especially in time of technological advancement, as they strive to provide a better TV experience and other services to their customers.
A total of 10 schools have participated in this year's maiden edition of the Junior Primary School National Spelling Bee Competition. The Spelling Bee, which is aimed at ameliorating the level of English language on spellers, sharpen their public speaking skills, and build team spirit among the candidates, was under the watchful eyes of the principal officer at the U.S. Embassy in Douala.
I'm very impressed by every aspect of this program. I congratulate all the schools in Cameroon for doing this. I think it's a great opportunity for students to learn. I think it's a great opportunity for them to have a chance to excel, to learn how to work hard and enjoy it at the same time. I congratulate all the parents, the coaches, the schools, everyone who put a lot of work into it, because it is such an opportunity for the students.
The 30 spellers held their teachers, parents, and classmates spellbound with their incredible English language know-how. Though a very challenging intellectual exercise, the speller from Dewey International Primary School for Applied Sciences came out champion.
My secret is to breathe in and to breathe out, stay calm and relaxed, and retain the letters in your head to spell correctly. I had mentors at school who drilled me at the end of school, and once I come to school, Miss Tala drilled me to spell at least 10 words. Then at home, my family helped.
The organizers of the National Spelling Bee competition expressed delight after a successful organization.
Basically, it's to help students to ameliorate the level of English language, to help them to learn interpersonal skills, to learn team spirit, and to learn public speaking skills. Now, in addition to that, to learn how to spell English language vocabulary and become better communicators.
The next rendezvous of the National Spelling Bee has been booked for 2020.
More than 46 countries around the globe have a special day when they pay tribute to mothers. Mother's Day 2019 was celebrated in Cameroon yesterday. Just like in other countries in the world, it is an opportunity to show love and appreciation to all mothers for the sacrifice they have made for their generations. Mothering Day started in 1914 in honor of mothers by Anna Jarvis. The modern holiday of Mother's Day was first celebrated when Anna Jarvis held a memorial for her mother at St. Andrew's Methodist Church. These traditions spread and was later organized in other areas of the world, not exempting Cameroon. Mothers are mostly celebrated by their children in many ways, some being special treats like time, gifts, poems, vacations, and above all, granting to them their heart desires. Meanwhile, mothers on their part expect little or nothing from their children besides making them proud. Added to their multitasking nature, they carry the responsibility of running their homes and possibly the country. At a time where the Anglophone crisis has eaten deep into the system, a possible remedy to the situation is a rally for mothers to press for peace with their cry. Happy Mother's Day.
This is the government's bilingual high school Moliko Boya, where the students and staff of the institution celebrated their end of the 2018-2019 academic year. The ceremony saw the donation of awards to some meritorious students of the Anglophone and Francophone sectors who had proven their worth academically throughout the school year. The awards were given to students of Form 1 to Upsit and were handed by the principal of the college, Madame Cecilia Lyonga. Relaying to the press, the principal called on all students to be of good moral behavior and assist their parents while at home during the holiday period.
What I have to tell them is that they are going on holidays, they should take care of themselves and they should assist their parents back at home and do not forget to continue learning because there is a continuous exercise.
To the students of the examination class who will commence their examinations on Monday, she told them to muster courage, put on the armor of the Lord and put in their very best.
I call on them to use their time judiciously, know when to rest, when to study, and treat well so they can make it at the end. And to the parents of those who are in examination classes, I'm appealing to them, but all the same word to them, appealing to them to make sure they see the children very well during this period and take care of their health so they can write their exams in serene atmosphere.
All hands on deck, the ball has been set rolling and everything has been put in place for the successful commencement of the examinations.
As the academic year 2018-2019 gradually comes to an end, pupils of the nursery level of bilingual primary and nursery school source of knowledge in the Dopasi 3 municipality, Littoral region over the weekend celebrated the end of year feast. After 9 months of intense activities, the kids are finally on holidays. To the head teacher of the school, the pupils have not wasted the 9 months.
Today is a very big day for us because our kids of nursery are going for holiday. It is the end of the year. We are so proud today because the children have demonstrated us that since the whole year we are not come here to lose our time. We come here, we work and we continue with their prestation.
From sketches to ballet dances, dramas, rhymes, interpretation of songs, and different cultural displays by kids with dexterity all spice the ceremony.
The organization of the event was not easy, but with a young team like this, dynamic team, very good. They love their work. We do it very well, and as parents are going like this, they are going with smile. They are smiling. They are going with. They are proud. They are going with satisfaction.
It was also an occasion for the promoter of the school to congratulate My Media Prime for its relentless efforts in bringing information closer to the population.
Votre média, à l'instar des autres, est la bienvenue parce que de nos jours, votre média c'est un nouveau média et nous disons que tout ce qu'il y a lieu de faire, c'est de vous accompagner. C'est de vous accompagner, vous faire confiance parce que nous savons que le travail que vous abattez est titanesque. Par conséquent, nous devons de vous accompagner parce que ce que vous faites au quotidien pour conscientiser déjà les masses, conscientiser notre jeunesse, il n'y a pas de prix à cela.
As the children go on holidays after 9 months of intense activities in school, it is the wish of all they be occupied with the right activities and God equally protects them so that they will answer present in September for the new school year 2019-2020.
The economic sector of Cameroon, which is the backbone of every country, has been facing some challenges in the quality control domain. The quality of products sent into the market by Cameroonian companies have often come under serious criticisms from customers due to the negative after effect of the products on them. Reasons why Soulmate Business Empire has seen the light of day to provide solutions to the already existing problems.
The main inspiration for this is based on my growing up and what I studied in school and just observing the whole environment as a Cameroonian. Talking about the quality aspect is talking about maybe the food that we eat, the customer service that we receive, and everything else. That's all what quality control here is focusing on. And as the holder of a quality management certificate from the University of Ngaoundéré in Saïd, I have always wanted to go independent.
Unlike other quality control agencies in Cameroon, SB hopes to make a difference in the quality control sector.
What people are trying to do now is they're trying to concentrate on branding. There's this new word called branding where everybody just want to use the media or just want to have their logos everywhere, and they don't focus on the basics of what branding has to do, because the basic of what branding is all about is quality management consultancy. So what we're trying to do is reverse that process. That's why our tagline is your business brand is built in our quality control certification services. What we're trying to say here is you can build your brand by simply implementing quality management systems or simply having us offer you that service.
The newly created Quality Control Agency will also provide quality customer services in air traveling, management, and promotion.
Organized at the Cultural Center in Boya, a seminar to build up young actors and actresses in the movie industry in Cameroon has been held recently. The 3-day workshop was graced with the presence of the Regional Delegate of Culture, Madame Grace Ewang, who said the initiative is a wonderful one as training is the key which leads to professionalism so as to enable them to deliver the best.
So for me, it's a very good initiative to empower them and put them in the film market. So it's very important for them to know that when they are trained like this, they should sell themselves in short stories that they write and produce.
To the young actors and actresses, the regional delegates advised them to be able to grab opportunities by emulating examples from other countries and be able to employ and sell themselves.
I told all those who are here that it's not just about waiting. When they train them as actors, it's not about waiting only waiting for people to employ them. They can emulate what we see in other countries. They can form themselves into teams and produce short stories of 3 minutes, 5 minutes that can be sold in TV houses online. It means that they can employ themselves after this training that they are going through.
The organizer of the workshop, Prince Sube, who doubles as an actor and a vixen, says the initiative was based on impacting lives and not to destroy.
Actually, this session, what actually motivated me to come up with this workshop, it's because reason number one, based on my experience in the field. Reason number two, I am one person that always want to see people grow. I always want to see people. My vision for life is to impact life, not to destroy.
The workshop, with a lot of young and vibrant individuals, seeks to reduce the rate of unemployment as well as enhance the career and talent of youth in the country.
Candidates of the 2018-2019 General Certificates of Education and Baccalaureate examinations in Limbe Municipality have joined their peers nationwide for the 2019 examination sessions. Before the start of the exams at 8:30 a.m., candidates went through thorough search from the examiners to make sure that no pre-prepared material is found on them. Meanwhile, others were busy searching for their names in the sitting register. The atmosphere seemed relatively calm as law enforcement officers were on standby to prevent any eventuality. Some top educational stakeholders in Limbem were on a routine check to the centers to evaluate the effective kickstart of the examinations. After writing Economics Paper 1 and 2 for both GCE Ordinary and Advanced levels, Geology for Advanced level, Philosophy and Computer Sciences at the Baccalaureate, some candidates left the hall satisfied.
It was not bad. We actually tried our best to leave it in the hands of God.
Et nous pensions même que le climat de ce matin ne devait pas être favorable, mais tout s'est bien passé.
It was not easy to try our best.
Nous avons d'abord composé la philo, ça s'est bien passé. Bon, l'épreuve était un peu passable. On pense que l'année prochaine, on va se retrouver à l'université. Si possible, pour les gens qui ne vont pas aller jusqu'à l'université, ils vont trouver le travail. Quand même, c'était passable.
Meanwhile, other candidates, due to security concerns, have been moved to safer writing centers in the Limbe municipality.
Welcome back. You're watching Prime Hour on My Media Prime. We are going to stay with the news room to find out what the paper had for its readers today.
Hello good people, and thanks for joining us once again on In the Press on Prime Hour. On what is making news today in Cameroon, we begin with the Star newspaper. The Star newspaper focuses on the Anglophone crisis in Cameroon. The paper says despite Bia's dialogue call, it's bloodbath in Northwest and Southwest regions. According to the Star, Northwest governor issues second communique in less than 8 days, calling for an investigation into the killings and destruction of property in the region. After beheading of teacher in Bamenda, 9 killed in Esu, 7 in Bali, and houses equally burned down. As debate continues on the murder of 4-month-old baby in Moyoka, 6 youth shot dead in Chang in Manyu Division, southwest region of Cameroon. We move on to the Post newspaper. The Post revisits the cabinet meeting of the month of May, chaired by Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Diongute. The Post captions, PM hit at unruly ministers denounces cacophony in government. On to this other news story, which says Aya recounts May 26th ruthless killing of 2 civilians in Boya, southwest region of Cameroon. Yaoundé Douala motorway to be delivered by 2020, according to the Post newspaper. Still in the Post newspaper, gunmen have kidnapped candidate as GCE begins across the national territory. On to the Sun newspaper. The Sun headlines, civil administrators flood city councils. According to the Sun newspaper, presidential decrees appoint divisional officers to most of the 14 city councils in Cameroon. To these other headlines still in the Sun newspaper, Ministry of Housing and Urban Development presents Pioneer Statistical Yearbook to partners. Honorables Enwe and Mbile propose 3-month renewable violence cessation to dialogue. To this other human interest story, 4-month-old baby stolen at Mile 4 Limbe Motor Park in the southwest region of Cameroon. La Francophonie, according to the Sun newspaper, wades into Anglophone crisis. While the Scope newspaper focuses on the Fako land grabbing saga, the paper headlines, opposition leader swears to unearth fresh files. To these very interesting headlines, Rice Group demands independent investigations into Bamenda burnings and killings. Still with the Scope newspaper, Abobala takes Anglophone crisis or Anglophone dossier to Oslo Freedom Forum. The Scope also took interest in the killing of 4-month-old baby in Moyoka. The paper quotes Ayapo as saying, killers quote after bereaved mother. La Francophonie pledges, according to the Scoop newspaper, La Francophonie pledges to ensure stability in Cameroon. Now to the Lone English Daily, The Guardian Post. The Guardian Post focuses on the death of SCNC leader who seized CRTV Boya to declare Southern Cameroon's independence. According to the paper, the activist dies in the United States of America over the weekend. The Guardian Post also took interest in the kidnapping of Nigerian students in Kumba. The paper equally says 3 teachers have also been adopted on campus in Boya, southwest region of Cameroon. Defense Minister Joseph Beti Asomo hails soldiers for maintaining peace and territorial integrity in the Grand North of Cameroon. To this human interest story, 6 members of the same family shot dead in Bali last week. Still with the Guardian Post, 4 nurses jailed for death of toddler in Garwa Hospital. We now take you to Mutation newspaper. Mutation this day focuses on the recent visit of Defense Minister to the Grand North to assess the security situation over there. Details of the minister's visit on page 5 of today's edition of Mutation newspaper. While Le du Sahel says 2 persons have been assassinated in Lende in Garoua. The paper also reports on the trouble at the FSNC political party of Issa Chiruma Bakari. La Voix du Centre on its part revisit the Ezeka train accident. The paper is asking this day, où est passée la dotation de Paul Biya? 3 years after President Biya dispersed money meant for victims of the sad incident at Ezeka, La Voix du Centre says many of the victims are yet to receive the money disbursed by President Paul Biya and are threatening to take to the streets if their money is not given as fast as possible. That does it for In the Press on Prime Hour. Stay with Kum Leonard for the rest of the discussions.
you, Lasha Kingsley, for the wonderful press review. We are going to discuss, we are going towards the end of our program for tonight. We briefly look at answers as to the question we asked: how do we protect civilians from what is happening? What should be the watchword for civilians, both to the warring factions and to the civilians themselves?
To the civilians, they need to denounce any form of shooting from both parties, from both the military or from the Amber Boys. To the fighters, the Amber Boys and the military, take your fighting to a no civilian area. In that way, we are sure that our civilians will be safe.
Okay, yes. What should be the watchword?
To the civilian, they don't have a choice than to escape from the area because none of these parties seem to understand them. And then to the fighters, I will likely talk mostly on the soldiers because we consider them professional. Let them practice the professionalism on the field because we know that the Ambers, some of them have picked guns when they have not gone through training. Let the soldiers prove that they are there to protect the civilians and not to kill them.
Okay, yeah.
So I would say to the civilians that they should run away as far as they can, because to save your life is more important. And to the military and the Amber Boys, I would tell them to drop down their weapons. The military, some people will say the military can't drop down their weapons because it's the military. I mean, if the government is wanting to solve a situation, they should show the act. They should drop down their weapons, the Ambers should drop theirs, and then they dialogue, and the situation shall be solved.
Yes, what should be the watchword to safeguarding the interests of the civilians?
To add to all the points that has been given, first point I have to add to that is that the truth must be spoken to the army and to the Amber Boys. Secondly, we need healthy communication as this is regarding all this issue. And then the main problem here is there is a fight between the Ambers and the military, and then the military, they are in their uniforms. Let the Amber identify themselves and have their own uniform. By that way, they will have the military to identify them and know who they are fighting.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Liu. It's very clear the military is doing more harm than good. Amber Boys have resorted to the last option at their disposal. Murder needs to be defended and protected. Let the government give them what they want and stop using force to subject them. Military attack, beat and arrest indiscriminately. Meanwhile, Ambers will come for military and civilians considered as blacklegs. This is Claudine Ike, writing from Ombe in Mutengen. Good evening to you, Claudine. This one says the only way to protect civilians is to stop the war. This is Raphael, writing from Limbe. Hi panel, it's a complicated scenario we find ourselves in. The separatist fighters know where the military are, other than burning people's properties and kidnapping civilians, then disappear to thin air. Why not face the military man to man? The military on their part should check, recheck and counter-check info as pro rather than kill civilians unnecessarily. This is Ebai, writing from Boya. Good evening to you all there. By my own point of view, the Amber Boys are friendly, but the truth is that violation of human rights is the talk of the day caused by the military. If not of the Amber Boy, the military would have killed all the civilians in Northwest and Southwest, and the government should give. Okay, this is Steve Embassy, writing from Cape Town. Good evening to all in the studio. Please, I think it's time we join our hearts and pray to God, asking for the grace of peace and forget blaming the Amber or the government, because all the blames would bring any peace. Rather, the innocent grass will keep perishing while the elephants fight their fights. This is Maimo Leslie, writing from Yaoundé. Good evening. Since the army started killing the Amber Boys 3 years now, how come they are not getting finished? This means the army is recruiting Amber Boys through their radicalization. Okay, this is George, writing from Yaoundé. what is called Amba today, these are people that went down to the streets with peace plans, but the military started killing them. So the Amba boys are for the population. This is Che writing from Bafut. We are briefly going to be discussing on this last topic. We'll talk, I'm sure, for 10 minutes and then 10-15 minutes, and then we end the program. We asked the question whether it's time for the opposition in Cameroon to come together under one banner and face and go for the coming elections. We understand that municipal, parliamentary elections, and possibly regional elections are going to take place this year. Is it possible for us to have one voice as opposition against the CPDM?
I think it's against the CPDM. I think it's quite impossible, because the interest of the political parties is not to combat the CPDM. The interest of the political parties is to prove to the civilians which they will serve that we are able to provide these services to you if you trust us. So first and foremost, if their main objective is let's fight against the CPDM, I think they're on the wrong footing. And I think it will be very difficult to join people. Cameroon has about 250 tribes, which means the number of ideas, the kind of ideas people have is very vast. Bringing these people under one canopy will just instead create what they call internal implosion. There will be more radicalization, more arguments, and at the end, nothing will be achieved. So I think it will be better for each party to set up their programs and be convincing enough to the population. I think Cameroon has gone past the level where we still believe in bread, sardine, bags of rice or not. Cameroonians now, because of this crisis, because of the crisis of Boko Haram and what is happening in the East, Cameroonians have become very much aware of the situation of the government. So if there's somebody who can provide something, you will see, we failed, I think the civilian or Cameroonians failed to target the main achievement at the presidential election. And as they say, charity begins at home. I think if they have to change this country, they should begin with these minor elections. And in that, everybody should provide his or her own program, not something under a joint canopy.
Okay, I'm Clementine from Kumba. The only way is for the army and the Amba boys to drop their guns. Mr. Ignatius, we know that we today in Cameroon can count both 300 political parties, except away from the CPDM. Is it possible to have them in one basket to confront the CPDM?
Actually, no. I support the idea coming together just because it brings unity. If it is to go in for election, I don't support the idea, because why must population go under one banner before defeating the ruling party? That one, there's a question mark there. Then on the other part, I'm saying that it's not possible in Cameroon, because just as you have said that Cameroon is having a multicultural, the multicultural nature of Cameroon does not permit political parties to come together. I will just quote you some examples. You notice that in Cameroon, political parties are concentrated in certain geographical areas. And then when you notice that when people want to criticize other political parties, someone want to criticize CRM, he will start by calling CRM somewhere, he will lose and start calling Bamileke. The same thing with SDF Bamenda. You notice that Cameroonians, we are still having, our ideas still come from the cultural background. But it is not late. I wanted to say that I'm seeing Cameroon now like the Cameroon is trying now to bring mechanism that can make bring unity if only there is peace. I'm talking about the multicultural commission that was created. I call it multicultural. I don't want the other one, because that one, these are the commission that will then educate Cameroonians. That beside the many tribes, they belong to one nation. If this thing goes serious, then it can maybe educate, then we can be seeing it sometime in future. If beside that, for now, I don't see political parties coming together, because first of all, hate speech, it is provoking people. And you notice that in Cameroon, we see it's only the ruling party that will see it granted in all the subdivision, because it is using the administration and the money. Beside that, it could not exist in those areas, because we still have those cultural ideas. So for now, I don't see it possible. But if it could be encouraged, then good.
Okay, if it could be encouraged,
the multiculturalism commission which was created, I think there is nothing that can be achieved through that commission.
Okay.
Because the members of the commission are people who have not promoted multiculturalism values in Cameroon. So I don't see a possibility of that commission.
We have a former Minister of Culture in in that committee?
Can you tell me the achievements of that minister? Basically, nothing to culturalism. So I don't see how that commission will be able to foster unity for all the political parties.
Okay. Coalition in the context of socio-political tensions in the northwest and southwest region. Do you think this is going to favor? Is it possible that parties would want to come together, knowing that some people want this issue in the northwest and southwest regions to be fixed before they even go for elections?
I don't think some people will want the ongoing crisis to be fixed before they turn up to participate in the upcoming elections.
The SDF they are not participating in elections if the problem is also in North South. And
The SDF
says so, Ayapo's party says so also.
If two parties say so, we have the rest of the people.
Okay.
Yes.
So you think that...
I don't think, first of all, in the first place, greed and personal interest will not permit Cameroonians to come together for a common purpose. Yes. So, and we have moved away from what Christ asks us to do, the love of neighbor. We have moved away from it. And it is very, very impossible for other political parties to come together for a common purpose against the CPDM. It is not possible, in my opinion.
Okay, look at the electoral code. Many people have the opinion that the electoral code should be fixed because as it stands to them, nobody would win the CPDM party, so there is even no need for them to coalesce.
Yeah, you are just talking from my mind.
Okay.
I always said in many places that there is no opposition party in Cameroon because my reason is looking section 4 of the electoral code, who says that election Cameroon must be independent. Looking at the section 5 of the electoral code, talking that the members of the election Cameroon should not receive instruction from anybody, and looking at the article 12 of the electoral code, still talking about the members of the electoral of election Cameroon has to be appointed with the consultation of all the political parties present in the National Assembly. But with all these political parties, they are aware that the electoral code is not correct. It's not in their favor. But they allow all these things to happen and they are going in for election. That is why today the person I really appreciate so much is Eddie Kawala. He stood for the presidential election and said, I will not go in. First, because of the situation in Cameroon. But the power mongers went in for. And now they are turning back to destabilize the country. And then my sister here just made mention of greed. A selfish desire. Many of them did not form a political party to help the people, as politics is saying that politics is again to better the life of the citizen. Therefore, it is a sole proprietorship. It is their property. And then you can testify from the chairman of all the political party. No one is about to give up. And then you will look at the history of the trouble between the President Paul Biya and President Amadou Ahidjo. You discover that it was because of the chairmanship of the party. And then all the political party formed by this particular person, the person want to die as and maybe giving up to. There is no way they can form a coalition in order to take away CBDN before first they don't have registered members. They are moving around. CBDN, if you talk of 6 million people have registered, 4 million are CBDN. They are moving around with crowd. They are not encouraging nobody to register, except Kabbalah Ribi, who started 11 million registered voter. They are just moving around and calling. If they say, I went to one village in the south region, right inside. From there, I did not see any ballot or any poster showing any other political party. But CBD Mbia went to Marwa. That is the only place. The other opposition leader went all over Cameroon. But the campaign of the CBD went right inside. So they should look for strategy. They should stop the issue of I want power.
Maybe they don't have the means to do what are the
they know. I would say they have the means. They are aware. First is that they are the first thing that are disturbing us Cameroonians is not finance. It is our mentality.
How do you go into all the 10 regions, all the divisions, subdivisions, villages without means?
All the 10 regions. Mbia did not send anybody to my village.
Okay.
When the opposition parties are waiting for during election to do their campaign,
Bia did not send anybody.
Did not say, well, let me explain how it is. When places are cold like this, there is no election. He will send people to go and create CBD in that, and then there are people. The president, the CBD, CBD will send.
It takes financial means to go there.
Wait, now like this, what will cost this? Maybe let's just say the SDA. To pay somebody, don't just say, okay, in the northwest region, will call somebody that will be the regional coordinator. The regional coordinator will create a regional coordinator.
Do you think what he says holds water?
Yes, what he says is absolutely correct, because the CPDM is the president's party. The CPDM has the financial and the security means to be able to deploy a campaign team to wherever region in this country.
Yeah, where would you want opposition parties to get same money to do what the CPDM is doing? Say security and financial means.
The security cannot support because it's a dictatorial regime. The security forces cannot want to offer support to these other political parties because they will think they are betraying their master, Paul Biya. And I think that's one of the problems which we had with the last year's presidential election. Trust me, 2 candidates rallied at the last fight, Professor Maurice Kamto and Barrister Keremuna. That was a very good point for them to tackle the CPDM, but it failed because voting was stopped in the northwest and southwest. It was prevented by the current condition, and because of that, it gave a lot of chance for the CPDM to be able to rig elections in this region. So even for the opposition parties to rally, it's not sufficient enough for them to be able to combat CPDM. The essence is, if they rally, are the people going to vote? If the people vote, fine. And for the opposition parties to rally, where they can have a drawback is, in this country, I don't know how many political parties there are, but I know for sure they are not effectively present in all local areas in this country.
The reason why somebody like Limbi Lobe is asking them to coalesce so that where this other opposition party is weak, they rally so that they have representation.
Should in case they coalesce and probably they pick a representative, okay, let's say this representative is from the East region, I guess they want to stand for us. And this person goes to a place like Ndop, where there's confrontation between the military and the Amber Boys, and people have already been stereotypic, and they discover that this is somebody coming from the East. What's their first reaction? This person is coming from this other side of the country, which we are claiming to divide. So it's not going to give any positive impact if they rally.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Kum. It is a shame we are in this mess. When the PM came to our region, we thought a pace has been set for the long-awaited verbal dialogue. But what we see today is the entry of armored cars. All the political parties have failed us coming together. Of those making money parties is worst. This is Remy writing from Bomeda. The government should call for ceasefire. We are the ones to solve our problem. We should not depend on international organizations like UN because they are out to grow conflicts in the nation. By His Royal Highness Obanfon Junior III of the Northwest region. The Northwest is not a village. Good evening to you all in the studio. When you say the Amber Boys should identify themselves, what do you mean by that? Do you think that the military do not know where they are? Like I earlier said, the government is too tricky to enforce. The Amber Boys do not declare war, but the government did so. Government should withdraw its military and peace will reign. Basil is writing from the hilltop city Bomenda. The civilians are so vulnerable that only the withdrawal of the 2 warring groups can save them. The military has gone proof while Amber Boys have Odeshi. This is Ngong writing from Mutengene. This one says, okay, I think I had this one already. Good evening. I don't like the way the Amber Boys behave because they're supposed to live in the bush, not in town, for the protection of the population. They don't dialogue with guns, we dialogue with our mouths. Let us not be convinced. Let the party who they claim to be intelligent drop their guns first. This is Frank writing from Kumba. Good evening. The problem here is the government know what to do. Release all the prisoners, and the president of the separatists will be the one to talk to Amber boys to drop their weapons. Caleb is writing from Bamenda. Hello, good evening to you all. The only way to bring peace in Cameroon is the president to do what he's supposed to do. This is Clarin writing from Kumba. Bonsoir, ma média prime. La crise anglophone est déjà en train d'être résolue par son excellence Paul Biya, qui est le meilleur président de paix en Afrique. Par exemple, voyons clairement que son excellence Paul Biya a déjà beaucoup montré ses meilleurs comme solution de la crise anglophone. C'est Kembi Promise, président section FSNC de la région de Bamenda, et je propose que les restes des séparatistes déposent les armes, vive l'unité et non à la séparation. Clementine from Kumba, it will not be possible because they have their different purposes. Great, everybody wants to rule. I'm sure Clementine is reacting to the second topic. Good evening to you all. Biya should call off the war he declared on civilians, and he should liberate all political prisoners. Then inclusive dialogue with a third party accepted by both parties should be organized. This Mama Therese writing from Limbe says the troops, if not so, the war will proceed. Okay, Mama Therese says the troops should be withdrawn. This one says the state of Cameroon don't even deserve any elections for a moment. Let's look at what is at hand and save life. This is Maimo Leslie writing from Yaoundé. This one says please, prayer is a key. Philip writing from Kumba. And for Blaise from Bonaberry, say I think the military needs to fight their target. They always pour their anger on civilians when they know so well that they are not targets. Since the government love violence, they should respect the rules of war. Thank you, Madame Ayon, with that wonderful solution outfit. Okay, we have to end at this juncture. What word to the opposition leaders who may be watching us now?
To the opposition leaders, what I have for them is that they should stand up as one man, not to fight against the CBDM, but to fight against the electoral code. They should stand up to encourage the population to register for election, to register their names on the electoral calendar, not be moving along with population that they don't have even an identity card. They should unite themselves and then put away selfish interest, reduce the number of political party, join themselves together and
reduce the number of political parties.
If people, they should, those who created party for selfish interest should resign and dissolve their party and go back to their party where they left because of crossing of carpet, because selfish interests have taken away. Whatsoever you are doing, we are not fighting for the citizen, and whatsoever the party has given to you, I believe that you have helped yourself, and then you should stop deceiving the population. That we know the electoral code is not correct, and then we should fight for the electoral code to be correct. It's correct, but it's not implemented, because it's rightly said that it should be independent, but one person is controlling it. The appointment of leaders of the election Cameroon, one person is the one doing it. One person is the one giving you the calendar on how the election has to be, and then you are going in for. I say there is no political party in Cameroon, opposition party in Cameroon. Cameroon is one party system, and they are all supporters of the president of Paul Biya.
Okay, Abongwa writing from Amanda says, let both parties drop their arms and a dialogue immediately organized. Madam Hannah, thank you for coming, and your last words to the political parties.
I will tell the political parties, the various political parties, to educate the population so that the population can get registered to avoid what the harai knowns that we saw during the last presidential election. many people wanted to vote, but they weren't registered. And I think the job of the political parties is to go out into the field, into the villages, in the various regions, and educate the population on the importance of getting themselves registered.
Good evening. I'm Claribel from Yaoundé. The solution is in the hands of the head of state. Mr. Ignatius, your last words to our political leaders.
Political leaders, particularly the opposition, I would like to tell them that I don't have anything against them. The opposition, they are trying their best. My brother has said it here, money in Cameroon belongs to the CBDM. They use it and the administration to be where they are today. The opposition, they are trying their best. Sometimes when they withdraw, like they withdraw from an election, other opposition party will take the withdrawal from the other one as an advantage to participate in the election, to have a you see that within it is those true opposition, they are trying their best. So I'm telling them that they should continue. What I advise them to go is what Mr. Lapana said from there. We should fight, all of us, we the Cameroonians and the militants of the opposition, to fight for the electoral code, because that is the problem we have in Cameroon. And they also advise Cameroonians, because some of us, we the civilians, we persecute political parties. You notice that at any time that any political leader comes up that is showing very brave, you will notice, I just want to quote, like when you say a Fundi, they will say he's an illiterate, he is eating from the same dish with Popia. Joshua, they say Joshua is a foreigner. Kabali B, they say he was student leader, he embezzled money. Maurice Kamto, they say he was from CPDM, profanity for. They will say he has seen money in CPDM and he lived the church. See, we the civilian, we persecute political party. Those are the things that discourage people from going to register for the vote. And then we will come again and stand on the maybe in front of the camera and begin to blame the opposition, the opposition party. Imagine a mother who is selling cold water by the roadside, and she tries that every day she returns in the evening with at least 3,000 to feed their family, and she sees you condemning all those political parties. Do you think she will sacrifice one day that she will go and look for money to feed her children, to go and stand on the line to register for election? She will refuse, and I will not blame her. So we should not take this blame and put on the political party. They are trying their best. Each political parties have periods that they act like flag bearers for the opposition. If this one come and play its own right, own role and leave. Yesterday was SDF. Today we are seeing at CRM. Some years ago, some people will not even know that parties like UPC. Somebody can start today and say, what has SDF done? Somebody who says SDF has not done something will not know what UPC did in the French Cameroon to liberate for independence. So I'm saying that each political party has a role to play, and when they play their role, when it is their turn, sometimes they become tired, because sometimes it's not also easy to face the regime. And I'll end by saying that when you see a political party calm down, sometimes it is like what the Frenchman will call relanti. In a football match, when you are an attacker, you attack from all the sides, and you are not scoring, there is a period of falling back to your zone and begin to observe the way to come again. That's the way the political parties they function.
Okay. Good evening from Boya, Marad Lyonga. Let government release the leaders and co. Then there will be peace. Good evening to all of you there in the studio. The civilians are with the boys in the bushes. That means that the boys are protecting the civilians. It's Daniel writing from Balangi. Your last words to
the political parties. Yes, as the gentleman to my left just said, that the political parties should, like an attacker in a football field, withdraw back and observe. I want to make them know that they should not go and observe like how the CPDM did. They should not go and observe to say, oh, let's give bread and sardine. It's not going to work. Cameroonians have gone past that. The political parties, the only way they can rally now is for them to come out with a common agenda on how to combat the Anglophone crisis. Apart from that, I believe that each of them should come out with individualistic opinions or suggestions which is going to foster development, it's going to bring good governance, and it's going to end the economic crisis in this country.
Okay, we want to thank you for coming, ladies and gentlemen. We equally want to thank the production team for doing everything possible for this program to come to you live from our studios out here in Goudron-Bangui, in Douala, Cameroon's economic capital. We equally want to once again appreciate the population of Bamenda that received us. Last week we had a series of this same program that was done live from Blue Pearl Hotel in Bamenda. We want to thank all those great guys and ladies who took part in the program from Bamenda. We want to thank the management of My Media Prime that equally made it possible. It is not heavy. It is not easy. Very heavy financial cost to move the team and the delegation to Bamenda to stay for close to a week in Bamenda and to move them back to our studios. We equally want to say stay tuned to more programs on My Media Prime. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.